Well, Governor, thank you for sitting down with us. 24 hours later, how does it feel? Has it sunk in that Kansas just landed one of the most successful NFL teams in America?
I don't know that it'll ever sink in. I mean, as I said yesterday, this is a bit surreal, and it remains a bit surreal. But as we move into the development construction phase, I think it'll become very concrete and very real for everybody. And I'm hoping that as we move along here, that everybody realizes how important this is. And when I say important, it's important for the entire Kansas City region, for the state of Missouri, for the state that we were able to keep the Kansas City Chiefs here in the metro area.
Yeah, walk us through the moment where you knew this was going to happen, when you realized that Kansas had won the Chiefs.
Well, that was probably about 2 weeks ago or so when I actually met with Clark Hunt and Mark Donovan, president of the Chiefs, and we sort of put the finishing touches on the agreement, and that's when it became apparent to me that this was actually going to happen. And before that, I tend to not get too excited about anything until it actually happens. So I was pretty reserved and didn't think much of it. But then it was clear after that meeting that Kansas would be the home of the Chiefs.
Yeah, what was the state's pitch to the Chiefs? What did you promise the organization that Missouri couldn't or wouldn't?
Well, I think we had a couple of unique things here that were very attractive to the Chiefs. I think first and foremost, and I think we heard Clark Hunt say this yesterday, was that when they were negotiating with us, they were negotiating with one entity. It was the state. And it wasn't just me. Obviously, I had this large team from Department of Commerce, but then others, including on the local level. But we all acted as a team, and so that they weren't having to bounce this or that off of a variety of different people. They had one entity to deal with. I think it made it clear. I think that certainty and stability of that communication with one entity was a major factor in the final decision. But I think also, no doubt, that on the Kansas side, we really worked together across party lines. This obviously involves a lot of different entities, my office, the legislature. But I think we were able to bring everybody together. The legislature, a year and a half ago, recognized that there was potential for attracting a sports team to our state, and so they put together the legislation that we needed to be able to even have these conversations. So I think the fact that we were able to work together was also very attractive.
Yeah, the state covering 60% of the cost for the stadium. How do you justify that to Kansas taxpayers who might say, why are we paying for a billionaire stadium?
Well, we have a really unique economic tool here in the state of Kansas. We call it star bonds. And essentially what it is that we designate an area as a star bonds area. So in this case, it will be the stadium and then the entertainment district that will be grown up around the stadium. It'll go down into Olathe, Kansas. I think it's going to include Lenexa and Bonner Springs.
Shawnee.
And then Shawnee. And then it will go into Olathe, where the Chiefs will be building a new headquarters and also a practice facility. So, there will be a line drawn around that district. And then when the stadium opens and as sales tax revenue is coming in to that, within the boundaries of that district, above and beyond what already comes in. So this will be all new taxes that will then be dedicated to paying off the bonds that will be issued to build the stadium. So that's the protective clause, is that it's not going to cost Kansas taxpayers one new cent. they're not going to be paying more sales tax, in 2031. It's just that a portion of the sales tax that they do pay will be going to pay off the bonds on this stadium.
So these sales and liquor tax, the revenue from that,
It's not liquor tax.
or excuse me, the sales tax, you're saying that that's not going to go up. You're still going to continue to pay the same sales tax in this district like we are
Exactly.
today.
There will be, there is no new sales tax that will be imposed for building this stadium. It's just that the new sales taxes that will be collected because of the growth around the stadium, in hotels or restaurants or bars or whatever else goes around there, retail, the new sales tax. Now, if there's an existing business within the boundaries, whatever sales tax they're collecting now will not be considered part of this. It'll be whatever new comes in after the stadium is up and operating.
Yeah, any financial safeguards in place if the revenue falls short?
Yes, there are several. One, if there are, if it ends up costing more, for instance, to build the stadium than is currently projected, the Chiefs will pick that up. Any cost overruns will be on the Chiefs, not on the citizens of Kansas. So we've got that in place. And then if by chance, and I don't expect this to happen, I expect actually those bonds to probably be paid off early, just like they were around the Speedway area. So I expect this to be extremely successful, and we'll pay those bonds off early. But in the chance that they weren't, then it will be the bondholders who are running the risk, not the state of Kansas and not the local municipalities.
Who are the bondholders?
Whoever buys the bonds.
Got it.
They will be issued as we normally issue bonds through our finance authority, and then just like any other municipal bond or whatever kind of bond, it'll be people who opt to buy those bonds. They also opt for the risk.
Let's talk about the bond district because it is large. It covers a lot of communities. And I don't know if we've ever seen a bond district of this scale in Kansas. Does this district still need approvals from these other smaller cities? Have they already signed off? And what's the trade-off to the taxpayer?
Well, you've never seen a district quite this of this magnitude because there's never been a project of this magnitude. So I think that's or scope. I mean, not only we have the stadium, but we're also going to have the practice facility and the new headquarters. So that accounts for the size of this. In terms, yes, those communities, Shawnee, Bonner, Olathe, Lenexa, yes, they will now. Since the announcement yesterday, they'll now be the local units of government, their local elected officials will be meeting, convening, discussing, and voting on their involvement in this.
And what does the taxpayer get in return?
They get the Chiefs, and they get a magnificent new stadium that will really be the envy of the NFL. For sure, and they'll have an entertainment district that we think is going to blow out every other entertainment district. So I mean they get the pride of calling the Chiefs theirs. So I think they get a lot. And if anybody's concerned, I want to reassure them that in anything that I have done, and we have invested a lot in drawing new businesses to the state of Kansas. But I've always made sure that we got the best deal and that Kansans were going to benefit from this. And I think with the Chiefs, I have absolutely no doubt that the overall benefit that the Chiefs will bring to the state of Kansas, to the citizens of Kansas, will outweigh any concerns they have right now.
Yeah, you mentioned the 20,000 construction jobs this project will bring to the state. Beyond construction, do you have any numbers on permanent jobs to the state?
We don't have that yet. Obviously the stadium itself will have some, but then depends upon what gets developed around the hotels, the restaurants, the retail, residential. We really don't, we can't estimate that right now. We do expect, though, that there will be about $1 billion a year return on investment ongoing once construction is done and the stadium is open. So it's quite significant.
Yeah, Kansas City Mayor Quentin Lucas called this a setback. The Chiefs have been in Missouri for more than 60 years. Do you feel any sympathy for Missouri losing this team?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course I do. I mean, if I were in their shoes, I might, I'd feel the loss also. But I'd like to also remind them that, the Chiefs have always been the Kansas City Chiefs, and that's always been thought of as the Kansas City metro area. And they're not leaving the Kansas City metro area. They're moving a few miles west, but they're not going anywhere. And just as Kansans have never not gone across the state line to show their appreciation for the Chiefs, I fully expect that when all is said and done, that the Missouri fans will feel the same and look forward to Sundays at the new Arrowhead.
The stadium opens in 2031. What are the immediate next steps?
Well, the immediate next steps are, one, getting back into the local communities and getting all of those I's dotted, T's crossed. And then from the Chiefs' perspective, it's really going to the drawing board. That's, it's starting now to put the plans on paper.
Yeah, the Royals weren't discussed yesterday, but we know that they have affiliates who have purchased land over in Overland Park. Are you in talks with the Royals, and would Kansas offer a similar deal to the team?
I think at this point, with everything that's going on with the Chiefs, I would just assume that we keep the conversation on the Chiefs. This is their moment, and that's where I want to spend my time.
Yeah, this could very much define your legacy as governor. What do you want your role in this to be remembered as?
I was just here, and I think we were able to get this done in Kansas because from the very get-go, I set my sights on fixing Kansas. We were in a bit of hurt when I took office, so I wanted to fix it. Then I wanted to grow it. But I also wanted people to be proud to be Kansans, and I wanted Kansas to be seen by the rest of the world as a really cool place, because I know that it is. And so I think that's more than anything what achieving this has done is reinforced my image, my perception of Kansas as being an incredibly innovative, incredibly family-friendly, an incredibly progressive community or state. And so by the Chiefs choosing us, I think that's reinforced and sends a huge message to the rest of the country.
Last question. 10 years from now, what does success look like? How will you know this was all worth it?
Yeah. Well, 10 years from now, I won't be in office, so I think clearly it's sort of like what we've seen even with the racetrack. That it's up, it's functioning, and people are coming to that area that had been barren before. The Chiefs obviously are even another tier on top of that. So I think if I had the opportunity to come by on a Sunday afternoon when the parking lot is filling up and the restaurants are filling up and the hotels are filled up, and the Chiefs win a Super Bowl on that Sunday, that would be so very cool.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say, Governor?